Good morning and welcome to Restoring the Classroom with Damari and Christian. We also have our guest speaker with us today, Kaitlyn, who is an expert on AI and education. Last episode, we talked about the causes and effects of student burnout. And one thing that we kept coming back to was that students needed support. Today, we're taking that conversation one step further and looking into one of the most influential forms of support in education, positive student-teacher relationships.
So, Christian, tell us, why do student-teacher relationships matter so much?
Well, Damari, student-teacher relationships matter because teachers are one of the few people who have the opportunity to see students consistently. Like we talked about in our last episode, students come to class carrying all kinds of things that teachers may never know about. A teacher may not be able to fix those problems, but they can become a support system for those students who are in need. That response can make students feel like someone notices them, believes in them, and wants them to succeed.
So, how does that connect to academics?
Most people would think that emotions and academics are two separate things, but they're actually connected. When students feel supported, they're more likely to ask questions, come to class, participate, and keep trying even when a task may feel difficult. These emotional relationships between teachers and students end up affecting academic success as well.
Going back to last week's episode, how can having a positive student-teacher relationship make asking for help easier when students feel burnt out or even overwhelmed?
One thing that I found during my research is students are more willing to ask for help when they already have a positive relationship with their teacher. If students know that their teacher genuinely cares about them, asking for help isn't scary. That doesn't solve student burnout, but it can create an environment where students feel comfortable enough to ask for help before things become overwhelming.
Kaitlyn, I would love to hear your perspective. AI is becoming a bigger part of education. Do you think AI could ever replace the kind of support we get from teachers?
Honestly, no. I don't think AI will ever be able to replace teachers because the relationship would never be the same. The emotional connection and engagement that teachers are able to give, AI is not able to create. Teachers are also able to actively engage and encourage their students, where AI relies on what you tell it, and AI is more likely to make mistakes.
That is a good point, Kaitlyn. Christian, what are some ways that teachers can build stronger relationships with students?
Teachers don't always have to make big changes to build their student-teacher relationships. Sometimes it's just the small things like spending a few minutes getting to know a student outside the classroom, creating opportunities for students to share their accomplishments, and giving students a voice in the classroom. These may not feel important, but over time, they help students feel like they belong.
I can see how in the long run it would make a difference. Kaitlyn, do you think AI can help teachers have more time to build those relationships?
Yes. I think AI would be able to help free up a teacher's time by helping with simple tasks like grading papers, but not completely take over a teacher's role. Students and teachers should not depend on AI for every task because even though it can make tasks easier, it can still make mistakes.
So, Christian, what does a positive student-teacher relationship actually look like?
A positive student-teacher relationship is one where students feel comfortable being themselves. They're not afraid to ask questions or make mistakes because they know they will be encouraged and not embarrassed. Teachers notice when something seems off with a student because they took the time to get to know them. Teachers celebrate student successes and create a classroom where everyone feels like they belong.
Speaking about students being comfortable being themselves, do you think teachers build confidence in students?
I do. Confidence is when a student eventually doesn't need a teacher anymore. It's being able to read something on their own, solve a problem, or complete a task because someone took the time to teach them how. Teachers build confidence by encouraging students, believing in them when they're struggling, and helping them realize they're capable of doing things on their own.
I really like how you describe confidence. It sounds like building relationships isn't just about helping students in the moment. It's about preparing them to be successful on their own.
That's where AI can be helpful too. It can support learning along the way, but it can't replace the emotional engagement, trust, and relationship that teachers build with their students. Relationships and AI both have a place in education, but they're most effective when they work together, not replacing one another.
I agree.
All right, everyone, that concludes today's episode of Restoring the Classroom. We hope you will join us next week as we explore the challenges of unequal access to education and how it impacts students.